expanding brackets and factorising back into brackets. So expanding brackets means multiplying out brackets, and it means either multiplying everything by the number outside the bracket to everything inside the bracket, or it means multiplying everything in the left bracket by everything in the right hand bracket. Factorising is the opposite to expanding, and it's putting things back into brackets. So let's have a go at some expanding and simplifying to start with. So we're asked to expand and simplify 7 in brackets 2x plus 3 minus 4 in brackets 3x minus 5. What we want to do in this situation is we want to expand both brackets. So I always do it like this. So 7 2x plus 3 and minus 4 3x minus 5. So the top bit expanded. 7 times 2x, well that's 14x, and 7 times 3 is 21. And that's equal. And the bottom one, remember it's minus 4. So minus 4 times 3x is minus 12x. And minus 4 times minus 5. Remember, a minus times a minus gives you a positive. So that's plus 20. And the last thing we can do is we can collect together like terms. So 14x minus 12x is 2x. And 21 add 20 is equal to 41. So our final answer is 2x plus 41. Just be very careful with the negative numbers here and here, because a big mistake is often to not do minus 4 times minus 5 as positive 20. Right, let's now look at expanding double brackets. Right, so as I said, expanding means we need to times everything in the left hand bracket by everything in the right hand bracket. Now, a lot of people do this by using the claw method. So, you do x times x, which is x squared. You do x times minus 4, which is minus 4x. Plus 6 times x, which is plus 6x. And plus 6 times minus 4, which is minus 24. Now, this isn't quite the final answer, because you can collect together these two terms here, because we've got a minus 4x and a plus 6x. Well, minus 4 plus 6 is 2. So the final answer is x squared plus 2x minus 24. Right, let's have a look at another example. So, this time, we're asked to expand x minus 3 times by x minus 5. So remember, everything in the left hand bracket has got to be multiplied by everything in the right hand bracket. So let's use the claw method again. So x times x is x squared. X times minus 5 is minus 5x. Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And minus 3 times minus 5 is plus 15, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Now remember, we can collect together these because these are like terms. So we've got minus 5x and minus 3x, which minus 5 take away 3 gives us minus 8x. So we've got x squared minus 8x plus 15. Right, next. X minus 3 squared. Now what does squared mean? Well, squared means multiplying it by itself. So you've got to multiply x minus 3 by x minus 3. So before you start expanding, rewrite this question as x minus 3 times by x minus 3. Because then you won't make any mistakes. So, here we go. X times x is x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. and minus 3 times minus 3 is plus 9. So, collect together the like terms, so we've got minus 3 and minus 3x, so that becomes minus 6x. There we go, there's our final answer. So the first step, remember, with this question is to write it out again in full. So x minus 3 squared means x minus 3 times x minus 3. So we've looked at expanding. Let's have a look at one more example, because this is more of a B grade style question. But you'll notice this time the value of x in the first bracket is not just x, it's 3x. So it's exactly the same method as before. So here we go. It's minus 3x times x. Well, that means it's 3 times, remember there's a 1 in front of this x, so it's 3 times 1, which is 3, and x times x is x squared. Okay, if there was another value in front of this one, say it was a 2, you do 3 times 2, which would be 6x squared. Do the same to the next bit, so 3x times 2, 3 times 2 is 6x. Next one, minus 9 times x is minus 9x. And finally, minus 9 times 2, minus 18. Collect together the x's, because we've got 6x and we've got minus 9x, so that makes minus 3. So 3x squared minus 3x minus 18. Right, we've done expanding. Now let's look at factorising. Firstly, we'll look at a nice simple factorising question. Then we'll move on to some more quadratic factorising questions. So, factorise fully 10m squared plus 4m. Now, what we need to look for is we're looking for a common factor that appears in both 10m squared and in 4m. So firstly, look at the values 10 and 4. What numbers are factors of 10 and 4? What is 1 or 2 goes into both of them? So we're going to take 2 out. But also, is there any letters that are common to both? Because we've got m squared and we've got m. Well, yeah, m appears in both parts, so we can take 1m out. We can't take m squared out because this term is only 4m. But we can take 1m out. Now, we can do the brackets part. So, what do we times 2m by to get to 10m squared? Well, 2 to get to 10 is 5, and m to get to m squared, well, that is an m. And 2m to get to 4m, well, 2 to get to 4 you need to times by 2, and m to get to m, well, we don't need any m's because when we expand out, we'll do 2m times 2, which will give us 4m. Remember when you factorise, and you can check that you've got it right by expanding it, and it should get us back to what we started with. So 2m times 5m is 10m squared, and 2m times 2 is 4m. So that's correct. Right, let's move on to some quadratics. So remember, when you're doing a quadratic, to get this n number, you multiply, and to get this number, you add. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to get 12, but add to make 7. So what I do is I write down the factors of 12. So we've got 1 and 12, we've got 3 and 4, and we have 2 and 6. Well, 1 and 12 is 13, so that's not going to work. 3 and 4, well, they add up to make 7, so that works. And 2 add 6 is 8, so that one doesn't work. So we've got x plus 3 and x plus 4. Right. Now that is very similar to if, instead of this being a positive, if this was a negative 7x. It'd just be the same as this, but these, instead of being pluses, would be negatives. Right, this is the more difficult style question. When you've got x squared plus 2x minus 15. Well, we know that to make that n number is multiply two numbers together. Now the only way to get negative when multiplying two numbers together is if one is negative. So let's write down the multiples of minus 15. Well, it could be minus 1 and 15. It could be 1 and minus 15. It could be 3 and minus 5. Or it could be minus 3 and 5. But we want to add up to make 2x. So 15 add minus 1 is 14, so that doesn't work. 1 minus 15 is minus 14, so that doesn't work. 3 minus 5 is minus 2, so that doesn't work. But minus 3 add 5 is 2, so that works. So our bracket is going to be x plus 5 and x minus 3. And remember, you can check by expanding this, and we should get back to that if we've done it correctly. Now this last question is a very special time where this minus 36 is a square number and we've got no values of x like we've had in other parts. So that means that whatever the positive was exactly the same as the negative because they cancelled each other out. So 4 minus 4 is 0, they cancelled each other out. It was 16. So what number is 36 the square of? Well, it's 6. So we've got x plus 6 and x minus 6. Okay, and if you expand that, the 6x minus 6x will give you 0x. Now one little point. Sometimes you might be asked to solve. So if we look at question 3, you might be told that x squared plus 2x minus 15 is equal to 0. So when you factorised it, you got this. And to figure out the values of x, you need to look at the situation when this bracket is equal to 0 and when this bracket is equal to 0. Well, the value that makes the left-hand bracket equal to 0 is minus 5, and the value that makes the right-hand bracket equal to 0 is 3. And they're the two solutions to this problem. And that's all you need to know for expanding and factorising brackets.